welcome to Sarah Yoga. I am Sarah. So full disclosure, I have had some really bad low back pain and sciatica going on. So that's what we're going to do today. If you're experiencing any sort of pain, this is your practice. And as you can see, I'm like in my pajamas. You don't have to. Contrary to what you would find if you open up YouTube, you don't have to be wearing fancy yoga clothes. You don't have to be super flexible to do yoga. It's actually kind of sad to me that that's people's impression, because yoga really is for everyone. It's for when you're in pain, when you're not in pain. There's always some sort of yoga that you can do, even if you're in your pajamas, because let's face it, if you're in pain, you're probably not going to want to watch some 20-year-old in their sports bra on a beach in Bali doing yoga. Well, I guess it depends on who you are. But chances are, if you clicked on this video and you're watching somebody dressed like me, maybe you tried those other videos and they just didn't give you the ease that you're looking for, or you're very serious and you're looking for a resolution to ease some of this pain. So, that being said, all you're going to need, if you've got one, is a block. If you don't worry about it. Maybe grab a couple of books or a pillow. And we'll find our mat nice and cozy, just to relieve some stress, some pain, whatever you're dealing with today. So we're going to start by finding a little bit of movement. Find all fours. And, if you have low back pain or sciatica or anything like that, it sometimes helps to move it out a little bit. And sometimes the stillness helps as well, and we'll do a little bit of both. So right away, just circle out your hips. Oof, my hips just popped. Pop, pop, crack, crack. So we're gonna start the pajama yoga revolution, sweatpant yoga. In reality, when I do yoga on my own, I'm not wearing fancy yoga clothes. I'm usually wearing something like this because it's comfortable. So wiggle it out. Maybe take a couple deep inhales here, deep exhales. Well, there are so many good aspects of yoga, and if we focus on just the sort of material bits of it, kind of really defeats the purpose. You can take your one leg out at a time and just kind of pull your heel back and stretch open the backs of the legs. And you give your head a little wiggle. And then just to give some foundation, some structure to that low back, if that is what you're dealing with, we're going to pull the navel in a little bit here and lengthen through the crown of the head. So you can even imagine that you have a book on your low back and you're trying to, instead of slouching in the low back, you're trying to push the low back into that book. Using the core, and then take that right leg and shoot it up and back. So notice when you do that, right, if we start to reach all the way up here, you lose some of that structure in the low back. So you're going to pull the belly back in, find that book on your back, even if it means that the leg comes down lower. Push back through your heel again, and then take a couple rounds of breath here. Notice your jaw. And then just switch sides. Right knee comes down, left leg comes up and back. So again, there's going to be this tendency to really want to get that full extension of the pose by lifting the leg up. But I'm encouraging you here not to do that, right? Let's just focus on keeping this low back strong, even if that means, you know, the leg doesn't come all the way up. You can keep the leg super strong as well, it just might not come up as high. So keep that low back pushing up into your book. Nice. Take one more breath in, maybe invite some length through the crown of the head, the back of the neck by looking down. And then exhale, release. So we're gonna take our knees now hip width distance apart and walk them back for a modified plank pose. So this is the same sort of idea. You can keep your feet on the ground or you can hook your ankles and sort of hug the heels into the bum, but you don't wanna just let the belly slouch here. You wanna pick the tailbone up and back. Again, imagine that you have that book on your low back, so you're pushing into the low back with the belly. And then extend the heart forward, spread your fingers, look down. Take a breath in. See if you can keep all of that, but just start to hug your elbows in towards the side of your waist. And take a nice slow dive, like you're a plank, you're a board, coming all the way down, keeping the low back strong. And we'll take one back bend here. So reaching the arms back in space. And for a moment, push into the tops of your toes and lift up the right leg from your hip socket. And then turn the toes to the left. So this is a good one for sciatica. We're kind of rolling inward, rolling that outer hip down, opening up the sacrum and the low back. Feel that rotation, outer hip down, inner thigh up and in. And then extend through the leg and set it right back down. So that leg gets really long, and you might even notice right legs surpasses that left leg in length. And then we'll do it on the other side. So lift up the left leg from your hip socket. Turn the toes to the right. Feel that rotation. Feel the opening in your low back. And then extend that left leg nice and long, put it back down. So from here, both legs kind of pigeon-toed, turning in a bit. Tops of the toes push down. And then on your inhale, we're going to lift up through the heart. Reach the fingertips back, extend through the crown of the head. Maybe pick up those feet. So feel that inner rotation. Feel the navel pulling in a little, maybe lift up a little higher. And then exhale. I'll let it go. So that's going to be probably the hardest thing we do in this class. So if you're like, wait a minute, I'm in my pajamas, I don't want to work hard. That's just to get everything into alignment. So now we're going to come back into a child's pose. Big toes together and just let your forehead come down. And let everything release. The belly, the tailbone, the low back, the heart, and the throat, the jaw. And so, unfortunately or fortunately, there really is no quick fix for some of this pain, right? The practice of yoga is a long haul. Sometimes just doing it once does help a little. But really, it's the state of mind that you're practicing, right? It's kind of allowing your body to be where you are. Even if that's not in this ideal or perfect state. And that does take a lot of practice. And just like anything else, right? Everything that you've probably ever tried to quick fix something, it's not always the best solution. And just come back to your breath here. And really allow yourself to maybe release and surrender. Just feel the weight of the body being caught by the ground. So I'm only saying all this because yoga, it seems anymore, has become sort of this competition. Save that for Hollywood. Let's save yoga for its main purpose, and that really is to bring deeper connection into your own mind, your own body. You can omit all those other things and just remember that. All right, so we're gonna come up now and just give ourselves a downward dog. So plant the palms, tuck your toes underneath you, and take those hips up and back. So again, you might find some movement. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. Just enough to kind of wiggle out the legs. You can shake out the head. And push into the hands, find some length. Maybe let a breath go out of the mouth. And then we're gonna go for a little walk here. Feet come up towards the hands into a forward fold. So if you're like me and you're having low back pain or sciatica or anything like that, for this forward fold, instead of the toes being straight out, or even the toes being a little bit wider, right? You're going to turn your toes in and take your heels a little wider than the toes. You might walk your feet a little bit wider. Just shake your head out, bend your knees a little, and then stick your bum up and back. Heart extends forward. Exhale, release. Find the inner corners of the feet. You can keep this more passive, or you can push into the inner corners of the feet and feel the length through your inner heels, your inner shins, the inner knees, all the way up the inner thighs into the inner groin. Feeling the inner groin lift up and back, more space into the low back and the sacrum. Again, find the inner heels. It's going to be tempting to roll to the outer edges of the feet. Keep those inner heels planted equally with the outer edges of the feet. Let your head drop. Let the jaw go. And then we'll take ourselves back down to our hands and our knees. We're going to come down onto our back. So you come down onto the back, pull your knees in towards your chest, give them a squeeze. You might kind of pulse here, bringing them in and then letting them fall away, bringing them in, letting them fall away. So depending on where you are in your day, if you've just eaten, this next pose might not be great for you. We're moving into a twist. You might omit this if you've just eaten. But if not, again, a great simple pose to open up the hips, open up the side body, open up the heart center. So you can just stack the knees one on top of each other. Knees I'm taking to the left, right arm out to the right, maybe looking to the right. So I find that if you do have sciatica or anything like that, sometimes there's like a knot in your low back, and you can just kind of take your hand into a fist and massage that out if there's any tension here. Sometimes this really helps. And if you are choosing that, you can take these big sweeping motions from the side of the waist towards the tailbone. Any kind of knots you find there is rolling it out a little bit. And even massaging right around the tailbone. Finding those little muscles right around the tailbone. And if your low back is not giving you any hassle today, you might just kind of leave it and let yourself enjoy the twist in your breath. And then we'll take ourselves to the other side. Knees come in. So use an exhale to pull the knees in. Exhale, knees are going to go to the right. If you did the left the last time. Reaching out that opposite arm, maybe looking towards that opposite hand. And again, if you have that low back tension or sciatica, maybe just kind of rolling it out. Take these big sweeping motions from the side of the waist and down towards the tailbone. Or maybe even just getting right in to those muscles alongside the tailbone. And so for any of these poses, you can stay longer if you need to. I'm moving on, but feel free to pause the video if you need more space, more time. So now coming into a supported back bend, this is where you would grab your pillow, your block, your book, whatever you have. We're gonna send that block underneath the tailbone to take some of that pressure off the low back. So knees bent, feet underneath your knees, lift your hips up. I like the medium setting, but if you have a lot of tension or you're new at this, you might start at that lower setting if you're using a block and bring it right underneath the tailbone. So again, for this one, so we're focusing more on if there's some maybe low back pain, or just trying to make this a little softer, a little easier, so we can focus more on the breath and allow our body to heal, restore. You might take your feet a little bit wider than your knees and just let those knees drop in slightly, opening up the sacrum, the low back even more. You're welcome to tuck your shoulders underneath you a little bit, tilting the chin up, and then letting everything settle back down. So when my low back is bothering me, I will stay in this one for a good chunk of time. Anywhere from 3 to even 5 minutes, but we're not going to be there that long today. But again, feel free to take as much time here as you need, feeling all those muscles around the tailbone that we just massaged, maybe release. Everyone feel the sides of the jaw release, the back of the throat, the low belly. Come back to your breath here. If you're moving along with me, we're going to start to come out of this. And gently picking those hips up, removing that block, coming down. And give those knees one more hug here. Pull them in. Might take a couple circles. Maybe a couple rocks. Back and forth, self-massage to that low back. Oof, I can feel a knot here on my left side. Becoming almost super aware of what are all these little spaces that we might just habitually kind of ignore. So we can move through our day. But when we have the time, when we're doing yoga, it's your chance to notice what's going on in the body. So from here, you might take your legs up the wall, you might spread out into a shavasana on your back, or you might come all the way up into a seat and spend the last few moments in a seat with me. If you are coming up into a seat, it's never a bad idea to come and sit up on something like that block or a blanket or a pillow. So I'm only suggesting this coming up into a seat today because when we hold pain, tension in the body, sometimes it is just physical and, it might be an injury. But a lot of the times there's, some sort of emotional factor that goes along with it. And when we're sitting up, we're not tempted to go to sleep. Of course, it's a little more challenging, so I don't blame you if you choose to lie on your back, or swinging those legs up the wall is also another great option. But wherever you are, close your eyes. And start to come into the breath. If you have any pain present right now, spend a moment just observing where that is, what space in the body, where that pain might come from, where it starts, where it started, when it started. Instead of trying to eradicate the pain, just allow the body to hold a space for it as you continue to track that breath in and out. And to the best of your ability, softening around this space. You can think of this entire practice as really holding space for your body, your breath, whatever you might need today, without any intention to fix or change anything. Once more, stay here for as long as you need. Give your body the time it needs, the space it needs to heal. And with gratitude, I thank you for joining me today. I hope this helped in some way. I will plan on seeing you next time on XSarah Yoga. Namaste.